And we're live. Hey
Hi.
everyone. Hey. Welcome to the Open Circle. This is our Yule special. And I'm joined by so many amazing guests today. We could start with introductions. We'll go with Aurora. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Aurora. I'm Lavender Hazelwood on YouTube, or Lavender Hazelwood Witches, both, either, whatever. What should I say? Starlight? What more do you want to know?
What are you all about? Like, what do you do on your channel?
So I am focused on sort of like green hedge witchery, I guess, if we're going to categorize it. And I focus a lot on animals as well. So that's it. I just posted a video. Oh, you should vote. Yeah. I just posted a video on some or two organizations that could get $100 from us this week. So I'm just asking the community to vote, and the poll is on the community tab if you want to check it out and put your 2 cents in. So yeah,
that's exciting. April, do you want to go?
Hi, I'm April. I have 2 channels, Tarot and Witchery and Natural Witchery. And I guess you can kind of tell that I'm into natural witchery. So things that is earth-based spirituality, things that are derived from our natural interaction with the world around us, whether we're in the city or in, the country, to making your witchery just, who you are. And my tarot channel is really about learning tarot and oracle cards and just trusting your own intuition.
Love that. Kara?
I'm Kara from Pagan Crafting, and my channel is based around a lot of crafting to do with magic, from a lot of natural witchery as well, a forest witchery. I'm the same way. I like to be able to I will show you how to find things in the city from the country, and I like to go out in the forest and find things and make things from it. And I do everything from spells to art, but this coming year, I'm going to be focusing on a lot more art magic.
I love that. I'm excited. So Tuva.
Hi, I'm Tuva, Norse Witch, and my channel is about obviously Norse witchcraft, but it's also got links back to when I was an occultist in a witch, high priestess of an Alexandrian group. So I've got a lot of stuff which I put together, really. I like to mix and match. But I love animals as well, so got that in common with Aurora.
I love what you have going on your channel too. And if y'all aren't familiar with me, hi, I'm Starlight. I'm the host of the Open Circle. And if you're not familiar with my channel, I talk about my personal practice and my approach to it as a blind individual, I guess. So, yeah. So, does anyone have any, exciting, fun plans for Yule?
I'm going to be hosting my magical, I hate to say it this way, magical crafting, but my Yule crafting event. We used to call it too, but I can't call it that. We do it every year in December. We're coming up here. Usually, we usually do it on the 18th, but we're going to be doing it kind of next weekend here, midweek. We got one for the kids and then one for the adults, because a lot of times the kids come and they just all hang out in my daughter's room.
Aww.
So all the adults wound up crafting and hanging out. So this time we're kind of splitting it up, something for them too.
I like that. That's sweet.
I know. I love it too. I love that you know people who are all into this too, because I feel like if I hosted something like that, nobody would show up.
Well, I would if I lived close.
First, I used to bring my friends in and just do some normal crafts, and then I started bringing in themes, and then I kind of eased them in, and now they realize. And last year we had spell jars, straight up. We had little miniature, 4 different types, and everybody was wanted to do them all. I'm like, oh,
That's
Nice.
fun.
Yeah, I was like, okay, paying attention to this.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah, what are you up to this Yule, Tuva?
That's what I normally do, really. It's pretty quiet for me because I
Mhm.
go more inwards. So I like to sit a lot in the silence. I know it sounds boring to people, but to
Mm-mm.
me, it's like I go on lots of journeys, but I also like the food. So we do have a very big Christmas dinner, but I have two because I have my Yule dinner and then I have my Christmas dinner. So
Mhm.
it's really. I like to do if there's any work needing in the area, be it for humans or animals. So I'm in touch really with Freya a lot over this period of time. And if there's been any animals that have died, you know, we work together on that as well. I do like to do that. And then we bring in the cheer because I like to bring Odin in. He's the main one that we like to bring in at this time of the year. And that's where a lot of the stories come for Santa.
Mhm.
It was really Odin, but a lot of people say no, he wasn't. But yeah, we believe it was. But so yeah, there's plenty of stories that we tell children if we've got young ones about what Odin done, and you know, it's just really nice. You're getting in with the gods and just making room to be quiet with them and listen, and then divination, a lot of divination. And I like to write things for people and give them to them. So they then post it on the tree, take it home with them after. So yeah, that's about it really.
Aw. Like, you said divination, like, is there, like, a certain type of divination that you
With
go into?
me, it can alter. It depends on what I'm receiving as to how I go about things. But anything from, I have antlers which I bang together, and that shifts you. You can do drums with crystals in front of you, and the drumming noise, the vibration will move the crystals if it's near enough. And you will see them move and you know what one to pick, and then when you hold it I get message come through. So depending
Oh.
on who it's for as to color, I mean it can be anything. You can use crystals, stones, runes, anything that you feel drawn to help that person, and normally you'll find a message will come through that way. So yeah, it's different.
That's really interesting. I like that. That's fun. Aurora, what are you up to this Yule?
What am I up to? Typically, I mean, within this time frame, usually blah, 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 blah. So like Tuva, I don't do her specific rituals, which are really cool. I've never
Yeah.
drum with crystals and picking the one that moves, but usually I do a year ahead spread at the beginning of the year at some point, just to get a sense of the things that I should consider for the next year, moving. And then I incorporate that into my bullet journal, which I start as well. So it's more like I turn in, but I also am like starting reorganizing things,
Mhm.
and sort of wrapping my head around, okay, we're in a new period, and you know, this is what I want to focus on, or you know, I do goal setting and things like that. That's not magical at all, but I mean, it is a little bit in terms of like how I get to my goal setting, but I also I connect with my animals like this sort of time of year between like fall and winter, like Samhain and Yule.
Mhm.
I spend more time sort of like connecting with them by lighting candles. Like usually I will light a candle for each of them that have passed. And then I have their name tags if they have them from their collars, which I use as ornaments. I hang them on evergreens. Usually it's a tree, but I'm not doing a tree this year. So I am just going to take bows and hang them on the bows, which I haven't done yet. But
Aw.
I just sort of, that's the way I turn in and sort of reconnect with them as well. So, and usually I have some kind of evergreen in my space. Usually I make garlands or
Nice.
just take branches and like decorate with them just to get the cozy feeling and that, wintry feeling, but also the smell is so good too.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
agree. April?
Ooh, you're muted.
Oh, we still can't hear you. Oh no.
She's muted.
All right. So I guess I had my mute on. Sorry, everyone. My dog was going crazy, so I turned the mute on and forgot about that. So this time of year is really, for me, it is a season, and it just kind of like Samhain sort of bleeds into the Yuletide season for me. And, I kind of begin that descent into myself. So this is really a very quiet time, and the closer I get to the solstice, the less active I get, where I'm really trying to allow myself to sink further and further within. I do a lot of personal reflection, like Tuva, through journeying, but also I do a lot of nature walks. I really enjoy getting out in the woods around my house and visiting certain trees that I'm very familiar with and communing with them. I enjoy looking for, just how the landscape has changed. And so for me, like, of course, I do some divination during this time, but one of the things that's really big for me this time of year is omen walks. I really enjoy getting out and just setting that intention that, if there's a message for me in the natural world, to receive it. And I find this time of year, for some reason, because I'm so deep within myself at this time, that I need something like that. I need just a reflection in nature, a wink, I call it, from nature to me. So, I'll decorate and do all those kinds of things. But I really wait until I feel that urge. Like last year, I decorated at the beginning of December, but I have not felt it. I've just really begun to feel like I'm ready to do that this weekend. So I really try to sink into my own natural rhythms and not force anything, and allow every year to be just a little bit different if it needs to be. Because for me, this is really a time of facing myself in fresh ways so that I can release.
I love that. And like, I totally agree with you. Like, it's really important to get out into nature this time of year because, like you said, like, you're more like looking inward at yourself. So like being able to connect to nature when we're indoors so much, it helps you to get more in tune with the rhythms of the earth and the natural cycles. I tend to do that too.
It's not too cold here. It's only like the 40s, maybe the low 40s. So it's not that cold.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, that cold.
Yeah, it can get into the negatives here. So.
You guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm jealous because it's like 75 degrees here.
I'm jealous of your warmth. Let's trade.
It doesn't feel like winter at all. It's weird to see plastic snow on people's yards because it look like winter, but it's not. Like 70 degrees plastic snow.
Oh, Draven, you can hear us now.
Yeah.
Yay! Welcome, Draven.
10 minutes of trying to figure it out. I got it.
Yay!
So what are you up to this Yule, Draven?
Hanging out with my family, working on things I want to manifest in 2024. And I'm looking into Yule traditions that we may want to start carrying forward. Like, I was really wanting to do Mother's Night this year and get gifts for my wife and my best friend and something for my mom, but finances this year just aren't letting it happen. Even I'd have to ship 2 of them. But family time is always a big thing with me, no matter the season. And as the weather gets colder, even here in Florida, you tend to draw inward and toward the hearth, wherever that may be.
Aw, I agree. And I wanted to say hi to everyone in the comments. Thanks for joining us. Welcome. Hi, a Peanut. That's a cute name. Mrs. D. Who else? Sherry. Hey, Sherry. How's it going? Nice to see you. And you guys feel free to share like what you like to do around Yule as well in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. But yeah, like I don't know. I try to switch it up and do something different every Yule. Just to have a new experience every year. Like I find that if I get in the same old pattern, it gets I don't know, less important, you know? So it's important for me to be spontaneous and switch it up. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do this Yule. Maybe just gratitude, because I'm going to have a dental surgery, so I'm not going to be able to do much. So we shall see.
Right.
So, yeah, let me pull up the questions.
Finding things to keep our practice vital and keep life in it is very important, especially after you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And it can be harder for some holidays than others. Like I don't get too stoked about Breeze Day, which is also known as.
Oh no.
We lost you.
Oh no.
Marks a change point in that cycle. And there's a reason that they marked days like that.
Sorry, Draven, you cut out. What you said, Breeze Day?
Yeah, Groundhog's Day, February 2nd. Like it's that midpoint between winter and spring.
Oh, like Emok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to like look at the subtle changes sometimes, and it makes you pay more attention to your environment to see it.
Let's see. A witch with spoons. Hi. And Xena. Hi. Sorry, I had to get close to see. Jelly Good Witch. I love that name. So, what does Yule mean to you? Who wants to go first?
Kara, you go.
What does Yule mean to me? I don't. Well, and it's funny because we were thinking about the questions and how we just not do things for the season, and we have to think about it magically too. What does Yule mean to me? For me, it's more like it's a time where I do more shadow work. I do a lot more journeying. I go see my teacher, and I just get some straight up do as you're told advice from my teacher up in the upper world. I also like pulling a year ahead tarot spread, and I love my bones. I started doing bone reading about a year ago, and I find them so incredibly accurate and fun. So I'm going to incorporate that into my practice this year. And this year we're adding spirals as our theme for this year. So I was looking up solstice spirals, and then I do crystal grids a lot. So now I'm going to do a spiral crystal. And I made 12 days of Christmas for a 12-day advent calendar out of a spiral, out of that. Remember the old school? We used to just do flour, water, and salt. The old Play-Doh. I just made one of those, and my daughter and I painted it from going from black to blue to night sky, all the way from the yellows to oranges to the yellow to the last candle. So we're kind of bringing in the new year with some light and doing some fun. We're going to go out this weekend after we do the pagan crafting with the adults, and we're going to make a solstice spiral outside. We're going to find some branches and stuff and make a big one. We have to find a place for that. So bringing in some new traditions. Yeah.
That sounds really good. It's similar to when I often do the spiral when I open my sacred space. I'll spiral down instead of calling in this way. I'll spiral down, and so you literally journey down into the earth and bring those energies back up with you of what you're trying to. So at this time of the year, because of all that's died around us. It's a good time to connect with inner womb of the mother, as a lot of people see it. But to me, it's really descending into the ancestral and being part of that realm and listening. So it's amazing what you will get, you know, like music. One year I was there and there was this fascinating sound, which I couldn't work out what it was. And then funnily enough, as always, the teachers let you know. And I was thinking, I wonder what that was. It was such a beautiful noise. And it was on one program that was on the telly, exactly the same piece of music, but it was done differently. But it was similar enough for me to realize that's what I'd heard, but done differently. And I'm thinking, wow, why you go down deep into the earth and you hear that, just it makes me realize that when people do things in TV and music, it's like prophecy, that they've received something and they've put it into something, but it's come from centuries before, and it's really exciting.
That's cool.
That's really interesting. Anyone else want to elaborate on like what Yule means to you?
For me, Yule's always been a time of family, and it's evolved in how I see it over the years too. As a kid, you're excited to see what Santa brought you. I was one of those kids that could not sleep Christmas Eve night, and my parents knew it too. So after I'd been let in on the secret, they're like, okay, just don't tell your brothers, and if you stay up, just stay in your room, play with whatever you got for Christmas Eve. So I'd stay in my room and end up falling asleep sometime about 3 or 4 in the morning. My brothers would wake me up. We'd open presents and just spend the day together. And as I've gotten older, just watching the kids opening their gifts, it kind of gives you an emotion and an energy that you can't really explain. And as I've gotten into my spiritual and witchcraft practice, it's became something of a reflective period where you look back on what you have gotten, what you've been given, and what you've done, and start planning for the future. This year, I want to get out into the woods a little bit. Don't know how much my leg will let me, but I'm kind of feeling called to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't until I had my daughter I started celebrating Yule, actually. I hadn't celebrated Yule for over 20 years. I just didn't like that time of year. So I just went into myself there at that time. But now it's so much fun. And now she wants to learn the craft. So I'm excited. So I'm even researching Yule and looking up things. Yeah.
Like this time can be hard for a lot of people. And I think it's about like enjoying the small things, like going towards what really matters. You know, it might help with those difficult times that some people might have. So does anyone have any like myths and legends that they personally associate with this time?
This was a really fun question. I was thinking about it and was like, you know, I really identify with the epic poem, the Sumerian epic poem of Ereshkigal and Inanna during this time, where Inanna is seeking this wisdom that she doesn't have, and she wants to go to the underworld and get it. And in order to get there, she travels through 7 different gates. And as she goes, she releases a piece of herself until she is finally dead. And this is the wisdom that she doesn't have because she's an immortal. And so, you know, and then of course she makes her way back to the world and is reborn in the world with this new wisdom, with the understanding of death. And Ereshkigal during this time also receives the wisdom of empathy, which is really interesting. So I love this myth because I really feel like this time of year is really about that for me is the releasing of aspects of myself, of even my own myths and stories that maybe have held me captive into an old idea of who I am and are not allowing me to kind of move into something new, a new expression of who I am. So yeah, I love this myth, and I love the idea of making that descent and, you know, literally allowing something in the myth, her body is like hung up on a hook in the underworld.
Right.
So of taking off my skin, she takes off everything as she goes down, all her royal jewels and all her magic powers, and lays them down willingly to get to this place. And so I feel like this time of year is that for me. And in the last couple of years, I do a lot less planning for next year during this time. I wait till I move into the Imbolc season for that. And so just allowing myself to really see what's passing and what new power wants to be born in me by releasing that or owning my own shadow. So yeah, I love that myth.
I love
That's
that.
strange, that myth, because they use part of that story in one of the initiations in the craft. But
Nice.
slight difference, they bring in the Lord of Death, but it's very, very similar. They have to walk that journey and give up everything to become, and so that really relates to me.
Nice.
Love that. Let's see. Spoons.
Anyone else? Anyone else have a myth?
Yeah, anyone else want to share?
The most I did was with the Holly and the Oak King story. I told that story to my girl when she was little. I have a Celtic book of all the Sabbats, and it would tell the myths and the stories and the reasons for everything. But it was like a kid's book, so we'd read that every year. And I've been trying to find it, and I can't find it. It's such a cool book. I got it for my daughter when I was pregnant. At a metaphysical store a long time ago. Yeah, I gotta find that book again. We used to read the stories from it. That was part of our little tradition. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have a tradition which went back way into my family, because I had my great-grandmother and my grandmother were cunning women, and they used to put money into the Christmas pudding that we have. But they used to do a spell on it first and put it in, and they used to aim it at the person that would receive it. And it was like a joke, because they would aim it and see how good what they'd done was, because they wanted to make sure the person that they were sending it to receives it. But they didn't like dish it up. So whoever was dishing it up was the ones that were giving it to the people sitting around the table, and it always worked out that the person got it.
Wow, I like that.
Using a third party to deliver the spell.
Yeah, maybe.
I remember this doesn't have anything to do with spells, but more just like traditions, I guess. My grandmother would make like a huge amount of like treats, like cookies, like different kinds of bars, like Rice Krispie treats, lemon bars, chocolate. I mean, it was like never ending. I don't know how long it took her to cook these things, but whenever Christmas rolled around and I was over there, I mean, it was such a feast of goodies. And like, I have very fond memories of, her baked goods from when I was a kid this time of year.
Was there a favorite that you had?
I liked her lemon bars a lot. I liked her Rice Krispie treats. I mean, she used to make them with peanut butter too, so that brought them down a notch, so you weren't so like high after.
Just a little bit of protein.
A little bit.
My tradition.
How about everybody else? What's your favorite Christmas treat? I'm kind of curious. Mine's pumpkin pie. Anything?
Oh,
yeah.
Shortbread.
My
You said
tradition
shortbread?
very
Sarah, did you
much
say shortbread?
Yeah.
my tradition very much falls in line with Aurora's. My grandma, well, as we called her, my granny, my dad's mom, and his grandmother were major sweets bakers. They would send us home boxes of it.
Mm.
And my favorites were probably the chocolate and peanut butter Buckeyes or the peanut butter fudge.
Mm.
And over time, my mother started picking up into their recipes, and then I would start helping her make them.
Mm.
And I'm trying to get hold of those recipes now to teach my son
Aw,
and wife.
Mm.
that's nice.
So when they start helping with it, it'll be the fourth generation that I'm aware of.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I wish
How
I
did you-
had my grandmother's specific recipes, but I don't. So I just have to, look things up. Like Rice Krispie treats are pretty easy. Just throw some peanut
Mhm.
butter in, you're good.
Mhm.
But other things, I can't. I don't. I know she made little chocolatey things too, but I have no idea what they were. That I wish I could remake. But I do definitely make like banana breads and gingerbread, not gingerbread men, like just a loaf.
Gingerbread, yeah.
Yeah.
Things like that I like to make and try to keep the tradition alive of baking some sweet stuff that I can give to people too.
Aw.
We have things called mince pies, but it's mince meat, but it's not mince as in meat. It's fruit, and so we make like little pies with them in, made out of pastry. And we put cream and brandy on. Sometimes
Ooh.
you set light to them, and it's really cool.
That
Yeah.
sounds
Especially
fun.
I
Christmas
love that.
Yeah, the Christmas pudding is made out of loads of fruits like raisins and all those sort of things, and they're made months before, and they're sat in a dark room, wrapped up in muslin and foil, and then I think it's every week you add more alcohol to it, and then
Ooh.
on the day you boil it for 2 hours on the stove. And so while you're eating your Christmas dinner, that's boiling away. And then when you get it out, you set light to it, basically. You just cover it in brandy and just light it at the table and it goes whoosh,
Oh,
and we have that with cream or custard even. It's quite a staple in England, yeah. Everyone
come
knows.
to your house.
I kind of want to look up this recipe.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Light on fire, blue flame on the table.
It goes out because obviously the alcohol burns it out.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Anybody do fondue?
Ooh, no.
That
My
reminded me of
son
fondue.
loves fondue, anything with cheese. So he would have us do fondue every time we got together. But I don't do dairy, so
I don't either anymore, but there is still chocolate.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
there's a chocolate
yeah.
fondue.
But I used to love fondue as a kid too.
Yeah. How about you, Star? What's your favorite treat?
I do like to make shortbread, but I also like to top the shortbread with cranberry jam that I make. It's really tasty. Like you get the tart from the cranberry, and you get the sweetness from the shortbread. It's really nice.
Can you post that in your Discord?
I can, and I'll be sharing the recipe hopefully on my channel for Ivy's 12 Days of Yule. I'm hoping to get that done. So we'll see. But yeah, I'll definitely post it over in the Open Circle Discord server. So to keep this question really brief, does anyone have any particular plant allies, crystals, or correspondences that they work with during this time?
Pretty much just evergreens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Definitely. I like working with berries and holly. You can use them in your spells, but you can also have them to bring in good vibes into the home. And I like to hang them around. I like them. They smell nice as well.
Mhm.
I've never worked with holly. I
Yes.
know not to burn it because, like,
Yeah.
if you burn it, that releases toxic fumes. But
You can chop it up and put it into a jar. So if you're doing a spell where maybe you want protection because of the
okay.
sharp bits on it, you can put that into the jar
Mhm.
with the right incenses and things that are appealing to what the situation is.
Mhm.
And that really works.
Oh, I like that. I'm gonna be doing I'm gonna be focusing on the sacred Celtic trees, so like the Ogham. I'm gonna be doing like a whole thing with them this year, and I'm gonna start with birch and
Mm.
build my relationship with birch, and then
Mm.
move through the Celtic tree calendar. Like, I know that's a really new concept, but something that I want to incorporate into my practice.
You know,
Starting
the
on
Yule tree, yeah. So
Mhm.
obviously they call it the Christmas tree, but to us and in the Norse traditions, we believe that the evergreen tree, the pine tree, the Yule tree is actually Yggdrasil, the tree of life.
Mhm.
So you're bringing that
Mhm.
into your home,
Mhm.
and it's promoting the tree of life, your life. So it's really cool. But yeah,
I love
I
that.
love that.
I like oranges too.
oh yeah,
Where I live, there's a lot of citrus that grows, so
Mhm.
you see them everywhere, like the oranges and the lemons, and so
Mm.
it's easy to use to bring those in. I baked some earlier in the season, just the sort of decorations and stuff, as everyone does, you know.
You
Mhm.
put the cloves in and make patterns.
Oh, for the what are they called?
Hang them
The
up.
Pomander.
commanders.
Yeah.
I haven't done that. I haven't been. I've just cut them up and made pretty little discs.
Mm.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
but yeah,
I did a mobile last year, that was with cinnamon and pine cones and dried. That was in my Yule video last year, and that
Oh.
was a lot of fun. And I think they're so beautiful. I just
Mhm.
handed that off to my daughter, who really wanted it for her house. So I was like, "Thank
Aw.
you. It's
Aw.
old."
Mhm.
I love that. Yeah, cinnamon and cloves are definitely, spices for this time of year that are warming,
Mhm.
have
For
that
sure.
association with the season.
Mm.
What about you, Kara?
It's almost like I wasn't answering because I work with a lot of what everybody else works too. I follow the correspondences, so
Mhm.
I felt ridiculous when I used to live on the island where there was holly everywhere, and then I
Wow.
actually went to a store and bought a little bag of holly. It was all chopped up, and it sucked, and I was all mystical and shit, and I was like sprinkling it in my spell, and I got most of the. I was like, oh yeah. And I got all the spikes in my fingers. I'm like, damn it. And I couldn't hold
Oh
it was on the video too, so I couldn't be like, oh, I had to continue the mystical shit. The sprinkling, and it's like, I made a little note later. I'm like, don't sprinkle.
That's what we call suffering for your art.
Yeah.
Yeah. I work with a lot of cinnamon and stuff too, and yeah, those little herbs and.
Mhm.
And then I've been working with the birch tree as well, and I have lots of bark, so I like making crafts with it and working with it. And I have a lot of cedar where I am, so I've collected a lot of cedar from the next province over. So usually that's in all for my evergreens. I use a lot of that.
Oh, that's a lot of fun. Here's an
Yeah.
idea for you with the birch. So, the birch can often symbolize like new beginnings and renewal. You can write on that like paper birch and you can light it up or you can do whatever you want, hang it. It's a nice way to work with birch.
I have a piece of birch that I collected. I think it was last winter, and it's like this huge sheet that I found. And I was like, I got to do something with this, and it's still laying there for me to do something with. So,
Well, watercolor doesn't work on it. I will let you know. If you paint on it, use acrylic. Because I was camping, and it took me over 30 layers to paint a pink Alberta rose on it because it's waterproof, Kara.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just kept layering. I'm like, I was stubborn. I just kept doing layers and layers and layers until I got some kind of pigment on it.
Juniper berries are also very seasonal as well.
They are.
Juniper berries and thyme.
Mm-hmm.
I like to make rosemary and sage tea.
Oh, that's interesting.
That sounds nice.
Very simple tea, but it also is very connected. It feels to me very connected to this season as well.
Yeah. So, let's see, next question here. I'm just trying to keep mindful of time. Does anyone have any like favorite spells or rituals to do during Yule or like even the winter season in general?
Health spells mainly, because everyone seems to be suffering around this time of the year, you know, with nasty flus and things. So yeah, when talking about like the oranges with the cloves in and hanging things around the home like pine, burning pine and things like that, it's all medicinal. So in a way, you're giving out an energy and, you know, medicinal way of keeping people healthy while they're like with you.
Right.
So I like to do that.
Yeah, I feel like I turn to more medicinal stuff too. Like I make tinctures and you know, other things like fire cider or just like a simple lemon and ginger, you know, like concentrate, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Just to keep the, you know, the health in check.
Yeah. Do a health shot with those. Sorry, April.
That's okay. I bring in some thyme usually, and I'll put it on my wood stove to dry out, and that kind of releases the oils into the air, and then I burn it. And they've actually scientifically proven that burning thyme in your house reduces the microbials in the air. It's an antimicrobial.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'll do that because, of course, I have it in abundance. Oh, look, Jasmine likes fire cider too. Yeah.
Hi, Jasmine.
And teas. Yeah. Teas are big time. Well, tea is kind of a big time all year, but you know, warming teas are so nice, and medicinal teas. I do a lot of nettle tea during this time just because I'm trying to keep everything cleansed. And so, yeah. And I'm waiting for my nettles to come on, but I've got all my nettles from last year. It's a good time to use up or use all those herbal things that you have, like actually, you know, use the calendula oil you made and you know, make lotions and all that kind of stuff. So
it's definitely the time of year.
I made some calendula. Sorry, Draven, calendula sap for gifts this year too.
Nice.
Ooh.
Sorry, Draven.
In the last couple of years, the thing I've started to do is banish the things that kind of bogged me down throughout the year, and then work on doing some protection work for my person and my house, and then work on manifestation as we get down towards New Year's. And the last couple of years, I've tried to finish my manifestations list right as the year flips over from like 11:59 to midnight.
That's really fun. I like that. Like a little countdown to the release.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's a way to activate it too, because so many people are marking that one moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we do have a lot of collective consciousness. Well, I guess depending on where you are, maybe in your time zone, and you can interdimensionally grasp everybody's midnight around the world, wherever it is, I guess. Harness that power because that day is so marked by so many people.
I'm in the Eastern time zone US, and that's where most of the United States population lives. So it's a good moment.
That's good. So there's something I really wanted to address. And in case we run out of time, I definitely wanted to cover this. I hope y'all don't mind like skipping ahead on the list. Do you have any tips or ideas for those who might be in the broom closet to celebrate Yule?
I'll go.
Mhm.
One way you do, I love making candles. So whether you roll beeswax candles or you do a soy wax pour, even if you don't put anything in it, if you don't put any herbs or little crystal chips or dried flowers or anything, if you don't put any of that in, just the intention alone, and no one needs to know, you could use color.
Mm.
You can
Yeah.
even, and then of course, rolling in your beeswax candle. Who's going to know that you have herbs and all kinds of stuff? Who knows that you've actually put a little bit intention oil in there? You can put a couple little droplets and roll it up. No one needs to know.
Yeah.
You could also just have some crystals around it. Why do you have crystals around your candle? Oh, I just thought it looked pretty.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
But it could be powering it up. Another one is a lot of people don't know all the Yule correspondences that are just starting out. My daughter said she hates red and green together, can't stand those colors. I'm like, but those are actually the Yule colors. She's like, really? I opened up my Sabbath book and I showed her anything from deities to herbs to plants to crystals, everything that is corresponding this time of the year. And she's like, oh, I'm like, every Sabbath has a color or two.
Yeah.
And then she took it in, and then she took the colors in. Sometimes just decorating with the Yule correspondence, and no one needs to know.
Another thing you can do is the Yule log, the decoration one, not the one that you put in the fire, but having candles in that and decorating it in the colours with a bit of evergreen. And then people say, why have you got that? Oh, I just thought it looked better than the candelabra, just have that and light those
festive.
candles.
Yeah.
And the different types of evergreen will mean something different too.
Yeah.
Each
True.
tree will have a meaning.
Yeah.
It blends
Trish-
so well. Yeah,
think
Trish is right. Huh?
I think this time of year is probably, I think this Sabbath, out of all the Sabbaths, is the easiest to celebrate with everyone.
Yeah.
Because there is a sense of merriment. And for me, I understand, like, being in the broom closet, it's a bummer because you really want to feel like you're connected to other people. But this time of year, more than anything else, there is a sense of goodwill on earth, right? And so I would say to anybody in the broom closet is to seek points of connection with the people around you that you have. You don't need to be sad about what you don't have, but again, dive into what we do have. Goodwill on earth, peace to all men, the ideas that are proliferated during this time. And so really dive into what you have and the connections that you have. There's so much that is obviously pagan all around us at this time.
Yeah.
And just delight in that, really honor your path and delight with other people, stand with them in that, and just allow yourself to be with instead of against. I think that's the biggest thing, to allowing yourself to get into the flow of any season or any Sabbath. So yeah, because I think we do that. We kind of long for our coven, our people, that group, and just realize that we can align with people in our hearts through the magic of the season, because there's magic in everybody.
Yeah.
There's magic in everybody, whether they're calling it that, it's there, it's present. The Awen is inspiring all of us. So
Yeah.
Like,
That's true.
this is one of those holidays where if the situation is right and you have the resources, you can just jump into what everybody else is doing to some degree, and it's all going to look and feel just about the same. The Christmas tree, we say it has a pagan origin. The wreath has an origin, especially if you get a living wreath or, a natural ingredient wreath.
Right.
Connect to that energy, put it on the front of your house. Maybe get some cinnamon incense or make like apple cider or something and just have that scent permeate your environment. There are ways to celebrate Yule as a witch that are going to look exactly the same as what your evangelical aunt and uncle do. But you're going to come into it with a different energy and view. You can carry that view with you anywhere and enjoy the season for what you see it as being, all while enjoying the joy, the merriment, and the fellowship of your family.
Right.
Do you know, that's also when you look back in times past around the witching time when people were killed, the reason they would keep it secret, they would have things made out of wax that they could melt really quickly, or kitchen knives and things like that would be used for magical works, because then no one could say they had separate things. So in a way, we've always in the past had to be secret. So people that are in the broom cupboard, they can do similar if they read up on how those people did it and how they kept it within themselves and kept safe. But of course, eventually broom cupboards do get opened, but it's got to be in the right timing. People.
You could also, I mean, as you sort of mentioned, you can just kind of like do some kitchen witchery and just cook, you know, just put intention into the spices that you're using into your food. And if you want to give gifts, that's super easy and covert, you know, making, you know, like I made an alcohol, like apple brandy, which is super easy and undercover, you know, or, you know, some bitters, or, I mean, these are alcohol based, but there's other things, you know, that you can make anything.
Or you can make Christmas tree things that you hang up.
Yeah, the ornaments.
You can put things in the middle of them, so you could like give them as gifts to people. They're not knowing that, you know, they've got something in them and that it's going to be nice for them. So they hang it on the tree. They've got those vibes. That would be another nice way.
Yeah.
I love how Jasmine said you'd put up her comment a second ago about,
let me re-highlight that.
Space. If you have a private temple, you know, dive into that. She says, if you have an astral temple sanctum, you can decorate there, do spells there, even have a celebration there with your guides and spirits. And, you know, I think that's a great reminder. We're never alone. We're never alone, you know?
I love that, Jasmine.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Like it can be really simple, and like it does, like Trish and like some of you have mentioned, it blends in. Like Yule really blends into Christmas a little bit, you know. And like thanks to Christmas, our traditions might not have survived, you know. So I guess it worked out kind of. It can be as simple as you want it to be. So let's see. Okay, we have about 6 minutes, if I can math right. So did you want to like close this out with one more question? So what are some of your hopes and dreams for the coming new year? What do you want to manifest?
Go, Draven.
Did anyone get the number of that bus I was just thrown under? Honestly, I would like to take steps towards starting the business that I've had an idea for the last year. Like, I've been learning things about implementing processes and planning through work. It's actually been a valuable resource for me, and my wife and I have been talking about this idea for the last year, and I think 2024 is the time to really put it in motion. That's one, and finding a place of our own is another.
Love that. April?
You know, this year, I kind of start the year at Samhain, but kind of starts to bleed into the new year. You know, I think for me, it's really about using what I have. And what I mean by that is allowing myself to really sink into who I am this year and let the Awen sort of flow out and about and through me, so that my practice becomes very consciously integrated into my being even more. So for me this year, this is a year of study. It's not really a year of adding per se, but a year of removing old ideas of self and just allowing myself to really experience my practice fresh and let sort of well up and out of me. So, I mean, I'm just taking a year off, kind of, everybody. I just, I'm taking a year to just study. I'm in a couple study programs, and I just want to really be present with that instead of having ideas about what I want to make out of it. I want to really just be right there in the moment and let it be what it needs to be for me right now. And as an Aries, like, I'm always like on to the next thing. That is something that I would love to master, is just being present right now. So that's kind of, I think, my biggest thing is use what I have, be here now, move away from consumerism, and just honor the earth and be present with what needs to be for me in this moment. How about you, Kara?
Oh, I am working towards retreats. I've been building a business plan and working towards that for 2 years now. I had someone with me that I thought she was a partner, but she was just along for the ride and not adding to it, and just taking all my ideas and writing it down and going with it. So I decided to kind of cut her out of my life last year, which was big because it was a friend of 14 years. And I've never felt so good. She was holding me back, and I was holding her hand. And I got also my feet wet, did some women's circles this summertime, did some drumming circles with over 82 people.
Wow.
So I kind of got, that was exciting. And then the wee moon ceremony in August I put on for the super moon was amazing. It was so empowering, and I just knew I'm on the right path. So I want to do a lot more healing this year. So I need to manifest. I do healing for free. I need to do healing for, even if I start off with side work and side business. Tuva has been really encouraging me on that. So that's good. And so I guess manifesting the retreats, doing more healing. And I also have been plant profiling. So I got to get my ass in gear. And I think I'd like to start by May, start my book on that. So I'm doing all my own illustrations on plants and all the crap. And every time I go foraging, I fill out I have a sheet that I made. And I fill that out. So now I just got to transfer that into, I want to do that into for the book. So work towards a few big projects, but I've also had a couple years build up towards them. So I think this year is now the next step of the leap. Yeah.
That's exciting. What about you, Tuva?
I've been having so much bad health that it's held me back the last couple of months. I'd like to find ways of being able to get out into nature a bit more, which is difficult for me because I can't actually walk very far, and I can't drive anymore because of my eyes. So I'm literally stuck in the house, and I would love to be able to work ways out for me to be able to, change what I'm doing in some ways, to feel like, I don't want to be like I'm a crone and that's the end of it. And I want to be able to work on that and bring myself out in a different way, if that makes sense. But it's just very difficult, obviously, with the things I've got going on. It's going to carry on. It's not going to get better. So I've got to work ways that I can do it, and that's what I'm going to work towards next year. I want to take some courses, and I want to go even more inwards, and then add that. I'd like to do Patreon as well eventually, but I've got no ideas on what I'm going to give to people that sign up if they do, so it's difficult because I've always avoided it, thinking, oh, no one bother. So why should I do it? But it seems to keep coming up. So it's almost like I'm being prompted. So I'm going to look into that as well.
Oh, you don't know unless you try. And, you've got so much support and love here.
Yeah.
Well, Tuva is asking all of you, everybody. So when you watch her videos, make sure to say, hey, Tuva, I would love this in your Patreon.
Yeah.
That would be a help.
Yeah. And what about you, Aurora?
Let's see. This year, I feel like just on an internal like level, I've really come to understand some of my own like trauma responses around life this year in a new way. And so part of that is really like, I think, keeping an eye out for those sort of knee-jerk reactions of how I behave, and really like putting space around them, and asking myself, is this how I truly want to work with life? And so a lot, that's internal work, that's shadow work stuff. I guess I want to have a stronger handle and become a stronger person. Like one of my things is I will like overshare, and then I will regret it, and then I will like retreat and hide for a long time, and that pattern is really debilitating in every aspect of my life. So facing that in a stronger way, I have already been doing a little bit of that, but getting a stronger handle on that. That feels like an overshare all of a sudden.
Aww.
No. Actually, I was thinking I'm such a hard on my sleeve person. I'm just not going to lie to you. Don't ask me, because I will tell you. And I just,
I'm an Aries too. I'm a blurter.
Yeah. So maybe you're thinking oversharing is just honesty. You're just an honest person.
I am to the point where I can be really abrasive in some situations, especially if I feel triggered by them, and there's a way to sort of create balance and diplomacy that I think I need to learn, have a better sense of. So there's that part of it. Jasmine says they can relate. And a more sort of like practical part, I too, like April, you were saying, you want to sort of study. I'm part of a priestess program as well. And we've had sort of a break, but it's going to be picking up soon. So really looking into that and getting present with that as well, to develop my own, skills. That's important to me. And also really digging deep and trusting life in a different kind of way, which for my trip that I'm planning for next year to walk the Camino de Santiago. Because it's
nice.
I'm terrified. It's a long.
It's gonna be so fun. That's gonna be so fun.
Yeah. So
you're gonna love it.
Yeah, but
there'll be so many people on that journey too. It'll be great. We'll see. You'll meet friends, and it'll be an adventure, and man, you'll know yourself in a whole new way.
It's true.
And such a spiritual experience as well.
Yeah.
You will be.
Yeah.
I mean, just the energy of everybody taking that walk together and purposing is so powerful to join that journey and ride that wave. It's beautiful.
Have you done it?
No, but my husband wants to do it. And we were abroad last year and was like, okay, this would be
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what I'm looking towards.
And as far as my practice, like she mentioned wanting to get back into doing the priestess work. I'm going to spend a lot of 2024 figuring out what it means to be a priest and working on developing a tradition with my best friend that we've been talking about for years. I think now's the time to actually get something written down and refined.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
I've got 2 kids that are interested. Her kids are interested. We've got friends that are interested.
Oh, wow.
So it's time to have something available for them that they can pick up when we're not necessarily there to talk to.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
Like, for me personally, I want to work on like being more mindful of like my energy and what I'm putting out to other people, and also like not to be too hard on myself, because I beat myself up a lot for so much. So like, working on being kind to myself, and I guess in terms of my practice, I don't know, just like explore some new things, but also continue to develop my skills and my knowledge on like what I already know. And I guess channel wise, I want to be more consistent. That's something I'm gonna work on. So it's hard.
Yeah.
So
Well, thanks everybody who shared in the chat. There were so many wonderful shares in there.
So
those were really neat and personal. And obviously, Aurora, you had a lot of people who can relate. So you're not alone.
Well, I think it's about time to wrap things up. So thank you guys so much for hanging out and watching and like celebrating with us. And to my amazing guests, thank you guys so much for coming on and wanting to share a little bit about yourselves and your practice and give us a little glimpse into what you have going on. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you for hosting this.
Thanks for wanting to come.
Thank you for bearing with me with my audio stuff.
Hey, things happen.
Yay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Happy Yule.
Have a wonderful solstice, Yule.
And I'll be over in the Open Circle Discord server for like a after party chat if anyone wants to pop over. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon. Oh, and check out everyone's links below. They're in the description. Go check them out. Subscribe. Like the videos. All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.